命をかけ、あなたは何を望んで塔に登るのですか？
僕は
あなたが何を望もうとも、それはここにある。
So, let's talk Webtoon again. Tower of God is definitely one of the most iconic and well-known comics on the entire platform. It has a whopping 3.4 million subscribers and has garnered over 1.1 billion views. It was created by SUI, aka Slave in Utero, and as of September 2023 has 580 plus episodes. This also makes it one of the longest running Webtoon originals, with the first episode having been released on June 30, 2010 and July 1st, 2014 in English. So this Webtoon is already over 10 years old. Holy shit. The comic has also been adapted into a graphic novel / manhwa. Due to the long running popularity of this manhwa, it was adapted into an anime which released in spring 2020. Tower of God is not the only Webtoon to receive an anime adaptation or a TV adaptation in general, of course, with a few other notable examples being God of High School, Lookism, and Sweet Home. I'm sure you've seen videos of people comparing manga and anime, so how about a video where I compare an anime and a Webtoon? How well did the anime adapt the source material? Why am I making this video like 3 years too late? All that and so much more. A few disclaimers. So this video will contain a few mild spoilers for season 1 of the Tower of God webtoon and the entirety of the anime. Well, not the entirety, just the first few episodes. So I mean, just as a warning, if you want to go into the series completely blind, I recommend doing that, but otherwise hang around. Also, as an extra disclaimer, I'm very sorry if I mispronounce anyone's names. I did look up pronunciations, but chances are I still got it wrong anyway, so sorry in advance. Okay, let's go TOG anime vs Webtoon. Anime of Tower of God was released on April 1st, 2022. Haha, April Fool's Day. The anime is 13 episodes long and adapts the entirety of the first season of the webcomic, spanning 79 episodes overall, including the prologue. That may sound like a lot, but season 2 has 337 episodes and they start to get longer as the series goes on. The anime overall has a much more consistent and fluid art style, but that's to be expected with a whole team of animators compared to just one person. Although I'm sure the creator has a small team of their own. Like with most webcomics, the art definitely improves a lot as the series goes on. Some of the backgrounds and shots are very impressive even in season 1. Not that the art is bad in season 1, it's just different. The anime art style is more similar to how the comic looks later on in the series, but with less detailed shading for obvious reasons. It's interesting to see different shading and colouring from how the comic does it, and yet also remaining similar to the style that the comic uses. The character designs also remain fairly similar to the original. There are probably a few minor changes here and there, but I don't see anything outwardly different, so you're mainly getting the same experience. It's also very cool to see a lot of them animated and stuff. Now, moving on to the actual plot. First things first, the anime cuts a few scenes from the original webcomic. A good example of this is in episode 2 of the webtoon. There is a scene where Yuri and Evan discuss Bam. After their discussion, Yuri comes flying down and kicks Bam in the face. However, in the anime, this discussion scene is skipped and cut straight to Yuri kicking Bam. There is also less dialogue compared to the original webtoon, moving the scene along a lot faster. This is not uncommon for, well, any adaptation really. The first few webtoon episodes are quite exposition heavy, and some of the info that Evan and Yuri talk about gets brought up again later. They pretty much rehash their whole chat to Bam anyway. They mention Ulrich Mazzino, a very important character who doesn't show up until season 2 of the webtoon. However, they likely chose to omit mentions of him in the anime. They probably weren't sure if the anime would get a season 2 at that point. It's probably way too much info to bring up if they just want to keep the viewer's attention on season 1 for now. And of course, it's also to save time and move the story along so the entirety of the webtoon's first season can get squished into 13 anime episodes. Do I think this is a good decision? I can see both sides. Like I said, it is a lot of exposition right at the start which could turn off some viewers. That being said, a lot of the dialogue exchanges reveal personality, such as Evan being nervous around Headon, and also making viewers look forward to future stuff, such as the Eric Mazzino thing I mentioned. There are some small but impactful changes as well. In the prologue of the webtoon, we see some random person, Hats, Kun, Anak, Rak, Headon, and Ban himself. However, in the anime we also see Indorsi, Shibisu, and Rachel. Alongside this, more dialogue is added. Another thing to notice is that we see much more highlighted glimpses of the characters. With Kun in the webtoon version, we see him holding some kind of handle, but in the anime we see him fully picking up his bag, an item which plays a pretty important part during Season 1. We also see him making a smug expression, giving us a little introduction to his character without directly introducing him. Although he does make an expression in the webtoon as well, but it's more obvious. Anime is a visual medium, so it makes sense why they would spend more time on showing the characters in action compared to the original webtoon, as well as cutting out exposition, as I mentioned before. A sort of narrative hook, I guess you could say. The anime also, if I may say it, definitely improves the fight scenes, making them much more fluid and dynamic. For example, from episode 2, here's Hats and Anak's first encounter from both the webtoon and the anime.
Jack, どこもクソばっかりだな。
さあ、逃げ切ってみろ。
逃げる。逃げるとは。己より強いものにするものだ。こいつら強い。それに俺完全にスルーされてる。
The way that the visual effects are animated is also really good, truly bringing the scenes from the comic to life. Do I recommend watching the anime or reading the webcomic? Which is a better experience? Well, that's up to you. The webcomic does have more story to it compared to the anime, but the anime provides a good streamlined experience. The anime also improves a lot of the fight scenes, and gives some amazing visual effects. Plus, while the anime does cut some dialogue, I wouldn't say the story suffers because of it. Also, the music really suits the story, and now I wish the webtoon had music in it too. So yeah, I'd say the anime is a pretty solid adaptation. As an avid webtoon reader, I always go with that, but that's not to say the anime isn't worth a watch. If I were you, I'd probably read the webtoon then watch some of the fight scenes. Thanks for watching, and see you next time. Alongside this, more dialogue is added. Alongside this, more dialogue is added. Alongside this, more dialogue is added. I don't know what that was.